Hello, everybody. This is the Making College Come True radio show brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I am Pastor John McLean here with a former Tucson Unified School District educator, the author of the book, Making College Come True, the the second newest talk radio show host in the city of Tucson with Making College Come True, this very radio show, and the superintendent of the school that has 100% acceptance rate into college, the school that if you want to make college come true for your child, I would check it out. It's called Tucson International Academy. Her name is Dr. Jennifer Herrera, also known as Dr. J.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm excited to be back for the show.
I've
missed it. I missed the live versions, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really
We've been
great.
having fun. And today we get to have a especially fun show because we got one of our favorite guests on the Tucson International Academy show, Andreas Ruiz of I Believe in Myself Coaching.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. And, I'm just really honored to be here and to be here in this space again. Because I think it's always magical when the three of us get together. Mm-hmm. It's always just a lot of fun, a lot of high energy. We could be here for days and still be talking.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. We have to whenever we meet up, we always have to kind of pull ourselves away from that meeting.
I know. Yeah. It's
all right, real life now.
Yeah. I know. Man. It feels like that when we leave. We're like, okay, well, let's go back to life.
Yeah, for sure.
It's our little momentary time where we really get to enjoy talking about all the crazy ideas we have, and they're not really so crazy. It's just what's our next thing going to be. And
I think the crazy thing is we just any given day we could probably come up with 10 great new ideas.
Yes,
figuring out how to kind of galvanize that can be the tricky thing sometimes.
That's for sure.
And I imagine the people on the outside, like we were even actually talking about in the Common Good radio show earlier, that never would consider entrepreneurship in their whole entire life. It just seems like a space idea when they meet somebody like us that has 30 entrepreneurial ideas, for every day of the week. Then, they may think we're crazy.
No, and you know what you said right there? I was reading something by Napoleon Hill, and he says the number one reason people fail at following their goals and their dreams as an entrepreneur is because of their friends, their family, and their neighbors. Because they are the ones that hinder us the most. We love our families. They're trying to protect us, and they're only going by what they learned. And I know for me, I had to get out of that space. And I had family, relatives who would tell me, oh, Dad, I've tried it. It didn't work. Yeah, well, and I would say, oh, it didn't work. I guess it's not going to work for me. But the thing is, you have to tell yourself, yeah, it didn't work for them, but it's going to work for me because I believe in myself and I know that I'm going to do it. And I think that's what separates us from everybody else, from a lot of people that, and it's no disrespect. It's just that a lot of other people just have this, what Kiyosaki's wife says, it's an employee mindset. Yeah. They feel like, they're going to be an employee for the rest of their lives. And that's cool. I respect that. But we're not meant for employee mindset. We're meant for far greater than that. And I was listening to, and I sent you a video, so you got to check it out. But by Napoleon Hill, how he says, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. And I really believe that if we really put our minds into something that we desire, that's what he talks about, desire. Yes. If you really desire something and you really put your mind to it and you put that service out there and you read it every single day, waking up every single day. Remember we talked about that money that you wanted to create? You keep reading that money that you want to create. It'll come to you. How? That's not important. It's why you want it, because the why is what's really going to drive you towards, getting that money, because you want to serve people. You want to make the world a better place. Yeah. And when you want to make the world a better place, people are going to say, hey, let me help John. Let me help Jennifer. Let's create this. Let's help them create this, because they have a amazing purpose that we want to be a part of as well.
That's right.
So
yeah, that's well put. I mean, I don't really have any additional thing to say about that. That's so good. Yeah, and it's because it's what we believe, and that's why we're here together right now.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about the impact that you both have had on our schools at Tucson International Academy. Just getting to know you myself, and being as young as I am, and your friends.
Yes.
And just I'm a bit older than them, but I don't
just
feel
a bit.
it.
A couple of years older.
I'm not your grandma, but I could be your mom. That's the bad news.
Yeah, you could be
good news, I'm not grandma.
you could be a really young mom for me.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Or
really
a big sister.
A big, okay, I'll go with that. But it's like so fun because when you get like-minded people together, all you want to do is help each other out in their businesses because you see the beauty of it, you see the value in it, and it's so much fun to be able to execute it together. And sometimes it's just a matter of that opportunity or just that connection. So meeting people, networking, again, face to face. I mean, we never could have established this kind of relationship online only. It comes from being in the same circles and you find yourself at the same places and you invite each other to the events, and it's very exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And kind of like speaking of the meeting, for our listening audience that didn't catch Andreas the last time we had him on the show, I guess explain to him like how he's worked with Tucson International Academy and kind of I guess working all the way up into what he just recently did at your graduation. I know that's a big deal right now.
Oh yeah, we had an awesome graduation, and graduation is, it's a cumulative. It's like the whole year, and it's a whole, 13 years if you include kindergarten, of public education usually, and just all the ups and downs. And we had COVID. I mean, this was a very emotional graduation for many of the kids.
Me too.
Everything they knew was challenged, and things were not familiar, but they got through it. So it's like victory. Yes, I did it, and I still got into college, and I still got scholarships. So it was a very exciting time. But they didn't do it by themselves. It took, of course, their teachers. It took an academic program that was of the quality they needed. It took their parents being with them and driving them to school every day and taking them home. So it's a real group effort. But what we were able to add even more this year was having Andres work with the kids and give talks to whole classes just to check in. Hey, how are you feeling? How are you doing? What do you do with negative emotions? And then just allowing them to have someone to interact with on those kind of awkward questions. Because if they would say, Mom, I'm very sad. Oh, a parent would be like, why are you sad? All right, or the parent might be like, you're sad. Oh no, I'm a failure as a parent. No, it's not any of that. It's more like, I'm just, we all have our ups and downs in life, and that's what the kids have. And sometimes it's hard to go only to your parent. You should always go to your parent, by the way, if there's any kids listening. But if you, in addition to your parent, you have teachers. And for us, we have Coach Andres. So the kids worked with Andres on and off for the past 2 years. So the ones that graduated really felt a connection and really benefited greatly from the teachings of, I believe in myself, because in the end, it's you who make things happen. Yes, you get the assistance of other people, but you actually make the ultimate result because you choose whether you're going to take action or not. And that's what Andres did. And he also was able to do some one-on-one if there was a question, that someone had or really wanted to share their secret, or not their secret, but their desire for a business. Because you can't just put that out to your friends, what we just said. Sometimes when you tell your friends and family and all, they're like, oh, that's stupid. You'll never make money. Better get used to sleeping on the sidewalk. It's just like, wow, heard it all. So,
yeah.
And so he got to come and speak. I don't know. What was your thought about that? What did you like about it?
We'll actually have you answer that question after the break. This is the Making College Come True radio show brought to you by Tucson International Academy. You guys hang in right there. We got a teaser for you. If you want to hear his answer, we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. All right, we'll be right back.
We now return to the Making College Come True radio show brought to you by Tucson International Academy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Making College Come True radio show brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John McClain here with Dr. Jennifer Herrera, also known as Dr. J.
Yes, sir.
Woo, woo.
Right here.
Yeah. And we have Mr. Andres Ruiz of I Believe Myself Coaching here joining us to bring the noise.
Yeah, let's bring the noise.
Yeah, and when we were the teaser we sent you into break with was Dr. J was talking about all the amazing work that Andreas does with Tucson International Academy, with the teachers, with the students, and he also just recently spoke at graduation. And she left you with that question as we went into the break, what that experience was like, and your take on things.
Honestly, it was an amazing experience, and it was so cool because when I got there, I love how all the teachers are so welcoming. I really love the teachers. They're like, "Hey, Coach Andres, how you doing?" They're so happy to see me, and I'm so happy to see them as well. And some of them give me a hug, and I'm just like, I'm so grateful to be shown so much love. And then also I saw some kids that had already graduated from TIA. They're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude?
What are you doing here?"
I know, like, look at this guy. Okay, and then he was just like, "Hey, man, thanks a lot. Like, you really helped me out a lot." And I was like, "Wow, that's so cool." And even at that career event, some of the kids went up to me, and one of the kids that was helping around there, he's like, "You know what, man? When I was in 8th grade, I wasn't really listening to you. I wasn't paying attention to you, but as the years went on, it started to click. And I just want to say thank you so much, because that repetition of listening to your message over and over again started to make more sense as I was getting older, and I'm sorry. And they even say, "I'm sorry, when I was in 8th grade, and I was like, no, it's cool, dude. I understand. It's
part of the growth, right?
It's part of the growth." And some of the kids, I remember when we were at the career, some of the kids were like, "Oh my God, hey," like I felt like a celebrity. I was like, "Oh my God," I was like, "It's so cute."
You're just like, stop posing for pictures.
I know,
yeah.
They were so cute. They're like, "Oh my God, what's up, Coach?" And then everybody was like waiting to just say hi, and then I was giving them some of the wristbands, and those kids are just so cool. They're so amazing. And it was really emotional for me when I got there, because it brought me back to when I was graduated. I was like, I graduated back in 2002. Oh my God, 20 years later, and I'm here at a graduation again. And to experience that again, I started to think about like the moment when my mom went there. She gave me a hug. She started crying. My grandma, and it got me emotional. Like I was like, whoa. And some of the kids, I loved. Some of the kids have so much high energy, and they're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like he's like, "I got my bracelet." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, dude." It was so cool to see that, and just to be able to have them just come to me and tell me, "Hey, man, thanks a lot for your help." It was so amazing. And the teachers as well. Some of the teachers were telling me like, "Thank you so much." And honestly, it was just so emotional. And it was beautiful to see the little middle schoolers and the little kindergartners with their little cap and gown. Like it was so cute. And honestly, it was just such a memorable night that I'll never forget. Honestly, just to see all the parents, the audience. We've been to the games for FC Tucson there, and man, I think they packed the place more than FC Tucson does. It was really packed, and there was so much support. There was so much beautiful things said by yourself, Jennifer, and also by Valerie, Principal Valerie, and I mean, there was just a lot of people. And then also, it got me emotional too when Arlene.
Yeah.
When she gave out the scholarship. Oh, that's so cool that you guys
in
did
her
that.
husband's honor,
Yeah. I started thinking about him. I was like, oh my God, it's already been what?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know what to say. I mean.
Yeah. I when I saw that, I got emotional too. I was like, wow, it's so cool to still keep his legacy alive. You know?
Yeah.
And
definitely.
The kids that got the award was really cool. They were just so grateful. And then the young girl that spoke. That got me choked up too.
Valedictorian or the valedictorian.
Valedictorian, yeah. When she spoke,
awesome.
She got me all emotional, man. She started saying thank you to her mother in Spanish, and she got him. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna cry.
No.
People are making me cry.
The whole night is hard.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not their parents or anything, but I almost felt like a parent there. But I felt like one of TIA. Like I felt like part of the family. Like they make me feel so welcomed and appreciated. That's something that I was like, wow, these people, like they show their appreciation so much. All the principals, Principal Trejo, Principal Spada. Principal Spada is always just so
he's ready.
So I really appreciate them all. And for me, honestly, it was one of the most amazing experiences I've had. And to be able to share that with not just the staff, but also the kids and their families. It was a really beautiful thing to see. And for sure, I was just very honored and grateful to be there.
It's that whole concept, like in real life, of It Takes a Village to Raise a Child.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
everybody was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, neighbors. I mean, I saw kids that we graduated several years ago. I saw former teachers that have worked for us and left on different levels of happiness when they left. Some were, it was fine, and some were mad. But it doesn't matter. It's like we have a concept, and I do stand by it. It doesn't matter, you know, that you have tiffs or you have disagreements with, you know, workers or students, you know, or even a student that we may have invited to go to a different school because of whatever the problem was. We still love to see them. And they come back, and you saw it. I mean, you saw how that was.
I did.
Yeah.
I even saw Mr. B was there.
Yeah.
And he was, and you could tell how close they were to him as well, and how he had a big part in that role. And that's cool that he was. That just goes to show how close you are with your staff and with your teachers. That Mr. B was coming back because he really cared about the kids. He really cared about that school, because that school, I mean, I don't know how long he had been there for, but he'd been there for a while,
long
right?
Time. And he impacted 2 different schools of the 4. And so a lot of kids knew him. And yeah, he was incredible.
He was a teacher at your school, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't. Now
he's a teacher and an assistant principal.
Okay.
But
now he's
he's
just straight up principal B now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Starting a new school on the south side, which, you know, I'm sure it will be quality. It's with Push Ridge South Side, I think they're calling it. And he's very excited about it. You can see him on Facebook. But, I mean, I couldn't be prouder. I mean, people would say, oh, he left you. No, he didn't. He did what he should do. If he's going to grow, he needs to go out and do his greatness, because he has a whole set of skills that's more than adequate for what he's doing. And then he's got that heart. It's the heart. I'm telling you. Skill set and heart set.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And Andreas talked all about you speaking and Principal V speaking and all that, but he didn't talk about himself speaking.
Yeah.
So I guess, tell us about that and how that felt.
Yeah, I mean, it felt great to just be able to speak about the things that have helped me in my life. And, you know, like, they're very simple, but yet so powerful. And unfortunately, I was not aware of these 3 things back when I was younger, because I was just young, not real. I was very ignorant and didn't really appreciate stuff. And for me, those 3 things were mentors, and believing in yourself, and then attitude. Like those were the 3 things that I talked about to the students that have changed my life. But back then I was just not didn't have that awareness. And now that I have that awareness, now that I have my mentors, including Jennifer, like she's one of my mentors, John, Javier, Jorge. I mean, I can go on, the list goes on, but I have so many mentors that helped me believe in myself when I didn't. And with mentors, with self-belief, you can create an amazing attitude, an unstoppable attitude with enthusiasm, energy that will help you have success, not only in your professional, but in your personal life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
100%.
And we'll definitely talk about all that and more after this break. This is Making College Come True Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John McClain here with Dr. Jennifer Herrera.
We now return to the Making College Come True Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Making College Come True Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John McClain here with Dr. Jennifer Herrera, Dr. J of Tucson International Academy.
Yes. Woo-woo.
Yeah. And we got our favorite guest here in studio with us, Mr. Andreas Ruiz of I Believe in Myself Coaching, who is definitely one of the best motivational coaches I know, and one of the best public speakers that I know. And that kind of brings me to like the question that we left off with before we went into break, where just recently you spoke in front of a packed house at a FC Tucson stadium, a whole bunch of people there. And I know 87%, or at least I've heard 87% of people, their greatest fear is public speaking. Yet you seem to do with these. I mean, I've seen you public speak on so many different occasions. Like, when you step out there on a stage like you did at the graduation, like, how does that feel? Like, what was it like going through that? And I guess what advice would you give to those that out there that are absolutely petrified of public speaking and can never anticipate stepping out in front of hundreds, thousands of people and speaking like you have.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because before I was doing all this, I was really petrified. I was scared. I was like really low confidence, low energy. But honestly, what helped me out a lot was just listening to my motivational audios every single day, making sure that I was feeding my mind with positivity, that I could do it. Like I remember when I would go do stand-up comedy, I would drive there and I would have on my headset. Even while I was at the comedy stadium, at the comedy club, I would listen to Les Brown. You can do it. You got this. And I would go up there with this motivation and then of course the fear would creep in, but then it would just go away. But the more that I did it, the more comfortable that I got with it. I would bomb and I wouldn't care anymore when I was doing stand-up comedy. And then when I started doing public speaking as Toastmasters, at first I was nervous, I was scared, but I had a support group that was so amazing. Southwest Toastmasters.
Oh, yeah.
Karen, Fred,
Yeah.
B,
Absolutely.
Takesha. I mean, these people really motivated me. And I knew, like, when I watched the video, sometimes I was like, oh my God, I was terrible. But Karen would say, wow, Andres, you did pretty good. Like, I would just maybe work on this and that. And,
Yeah.
you know, like 20 things, work on this. But you did great. And I was like, they were so encouraging.
Yes.
They would make me want to keep showing up. And I remember one time watching 4 motivational speakers on the big stage at the VA. And I remember saying to Fred, I'm going to be on that stage one of these days. And 3 months later, there was a competition to be on that stage, and I got second place. And I was like, oh, man. And then I remember Dorothy. I don't know if you know Dorothy Yanis.
Dorothy, yep.
She's like, well, I guess you're going to be on that stage. And I was like, why? It's like, well, because I have vacation on that day. I was like, okay. And she's like, you want to take it? I'm like, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
So I was like, wow. I
Wow.
spoke that into existence, and I did it. I got second place for that, but I was on that big stage.
Still.
I said I was going to be on that big stage, but
Yes.
for me, it's just feeding my mind with positivity and also being aware of who I'm around with. Like that is so huge. The people that are in my ear, the people that are around me, like they have to be motivating me. And like, for example, with my wife, she's helped me out a lot with just when I doubt myself, she believes in me. And I tell myself, I tell myself these fake stories that are not real. And she's like, but you've done this, but you've done that. And oh yeah, that's true. And or John, you know, I'm around John and he believes in me. He tells me
That's
good stuff.
right.
He tells me good things.
That's right.
Javier, he tells me good things. Jorge, he tells me good things. I have nothing but support. And I think that one right there is huge. But
Yes.
if you have a lot of naysayers, get them out of your life immediately.
Yeah.
Because honestly, those naysayers are going to bring you down to their level with their energy. And energy, that's another thing. You got to have energy. And you got to have people with energy like you, man. You have amazing energy. You bring the energy. And that's so important. And also like practicing every single day. I remember Napoleon Hill said in his book, he would read the newspaper every day, 10 minutes out loud. And that simple act was so powerful. I remember I created a little stage in my backyard with some wood. And I just made that stage. And I remember I used to put out on the chairs, on the lawn chairs, I would put Iron Man, Hulk, all the action figures of my kids. I would put them out there and I said, you can live your dream. You can do it. For 10 minutes every day, I would just talk on that stage by myself. The neighbors were probably thinking this guy's crazy. But I kept speaking it and I kept feeling so empowered just by speaking these powerful words. And then I was doing it. And the more that I did it, the better that I got at it. And I would just say, listen to motivational audios. If you don't have positive people, be around positive people.
Yes.
Speak every day. Just speak every day and then identify what your fear is. Why do you fear public speaking? And go back to that one moment that defined you as not being a public speaker. Because there was a moment in time when somebody told you to shut up, or somebody told you that it's ridiculous, or you look like a fool, or somebody laughed at you, or you put your hand up and you guessed the wrong answer and they said, oh, look at him, he's so dumb. And boom, that's when you were conditioned for the rest of your life saying that you're a shy person. And once you tell yourself you're shy, you're right. But if you tell yourself, you know, I am a confident person, and you're a confident person, it just depends on what you're telling yourself. What are you feeding your mind?
Yes.
Me, every day, nothing but motivation. I don't watch TV. I don't watch shows on Netflix. I don't watch anything. And a lot of people think I'm weird, but guess what? I'm feeding my mind every single day positivity. I don't watch the news. Absolutely not at all. I used to watch the news 24/7 on CNN.com. That stuff had me scared. I was thinking, man, I better not.
No.
I would have probably said, I don't even want to go to that Keno Stadium. What if I get shot? Like, No, I'm serious. It's scary.
Yes.
It's that scary. I remember I would have the news for breakfast every single day.
Yeah. No,
worried. What are you feeding your mind? You know, because whatever you feed your mind, man, it's going to definitely impact whether you're going to feel confident or fearful.
Yes, 100%. I mean, what makes a good speaker is really you embody it. Actually, both of you, you have what it takes. And it's like, I just keep coming back to that same thought, so I guess I'll just share it. That it's, of course, you got to have the mindset, which
absolutely.
all that practice and reminding yourself who you are, and
Yes.
it can be through vision boards, it can be through affirmations, it can be through that practice. But that mindset comes from how you see yourself, how you conceptualize yourself, and who you hang out with.
Yes.
Because you're going to hang out with people that you think are like you. That's just a natural human tendency. But the next one is heart. Well, actually, I think the next step is actually the skill set. So you got to be able to actually open your mouth and pronounce the words. I can be a good speaker. I mean, an excellent speaker in English. In Spanish, I can be a good speaker because my vocabulary is not that good and I have a strong accent. But in other languages, I can't be a speaker. So it's like you have to know your skill set. You have to know the language. You have to be able to walk on the stage, and you have to be able to, present yourself. There's certain skills that you have to have. So you have to have the mindset that says, I can do this. You have to have the skill sets that prove you have actions you can take. And then the last one is the heart set.
Ooh, I love that.
You got to have the right heart. And that's why it's really important to be a successful speaker, that you connect with your audience. And it depends. Sometimes on some levels you can connect with any audience, because if you love people and the people are in the audience, you're going to connect. But it's even greater extent, more energy is created when you're with a group of people that you maybe have walked with, like through COVID, which was you. And that's that success I see you had at Tucson International Academy's graduation.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We'll talk about all that and more after this break. This is the Making College Country Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John, here with Dr. J. We'll be right back.
We now return to the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy.
That's right. We're back. This is the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. If you have not been to TucsonInternationalAcademy.com and enrolled your student, please do. It's K through 12. If you're looking to make college come true in their life, if you want your student to have a private school experience at a public free charter school, then check out Tucson International Academy, TucsonInternationalAcademy.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Next year we have so many events planned and so many programs. We have music, we have book writing contests, we have all this dancing with Cinco de Mayo, 16 de septiembre, Chinese New Year. We have our career and college fair. Oh my gosh. And they have music kinder through 5th grade every single week.
Nice.
And the class size is around like 12. You're
Nice.
averaging 12 kids per one teacher.
That's
So
amazing.
it's
Personal care right there.
It is. It's a lot of what do you call it? Attention. Like the kids get attention. And I think we have a wonderful thing going on, and I love going to work every day. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to serve our families, and I enjoy it.
And 4 different campuses around Tucson, so plenty to choose from.
Yeah. I mean, it's every part of town. We got east, west, in the middle, kind of just south of U of A, and then we've got Midvale Park and Valencia. So it's a good crowd, and it's a friendly crowd. We're much, much more polite and manner oriented. For some people, they don't want to be polite and mannerly, so okay, we're not the school for you. But we are the school for those that don't mind discipline, that don't mind heeding like direction from adults, and that want to do some kind of exciting things. Next year, we're also going to Catalina Island on a science biology trip, and that's for like middle school, high school.
Nice.
So there's a lot of fun things ahead. So I want to invite everyone who's listening to consider Tucson International Academy for your educational needs for the kids. Also, if you're interested in being a teacher, we periodically have open positions. I would just recommend that you go ahead and get your application filled out, so as things become available, we can consider you. And then I can say this, my 2 colleagues here are also a part of Tucson International Academy, so you don't only just get me, you get Coach Andres, and you get Pastor John. So the 3 of us do connect at each other's businesses, and they're a big, healthy part of Tucson International Academy.
Yeah, and one
you.
thing you'll hear, whether it's been students we've had on the show, whether it's teachers or whether it's the administration, even, Andreas and I that you have on the show, something that's constantly being said, it's like a family.
Yeah.
And I
really
definitely,
is.
I agree. I mean, I think you've kind of heard that from Andreas earlier in the show, where it's hard to go around Tucson International Academy and their people more than once or twice and not feel like you're part of the crew.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a welcoming crowd. I mean, I will say this: when we get a new student comes into a classroom at one of our schools, sometimes they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be ostracized. They're not going to like me." It's like the opposite at TIA. It's like, new person, hi, can I be your friend? And the new person's like, "What? Why do they want to be my friend? I'm the new guy." Well, they like people and they enjoy meeting new people, and they say, "Oh, it's a new playmate. It's a new group person that could be in my team for blah blah blah." It's a positive thing. I love how our kids welcome people.
Yeah. It's definitely it seems like a culture of comfortability and positivity around there. I'd certainly always feel that. I love going to Tucson International Academy campus. Is one of my favorite things.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted you to share about your experience, because I don't know that you were in a habit much before lately of writing children's books and then coming and reading them live in person and interacting with classrooms. How was that for you? Tell us about your experiences.
It was great. I mean, I guess kind of just to backtrack it, I mean, thank you for inspiring me. I mean, it kind of all started where, I wrote a book, with the encouragement of Andreas, and you're like, this is a really good book. I don't know if there's a place for it in the school, though. It's a little mature for our kids. Write one for our kids. And then just in the back of my head, that sat, and out of nowhere, one day I was like, well, let me see if I can even do it. Let me see if I can put together a book.
Did you ever?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. And then, next thing I knew, I had a cover, and then I worked on the back, and I did the back, and then 6 hours later, I put together a whole entire children's book. And
6 hours. Who does that?
I don't know.
A gifted and talented one. That's it. I mean, the whole book is just illustrated, fun, representative, and a Tucson local story about an issue we see every time we jump in the car, homelessness or houselessness. It's like that's the thing that I think bothers everybody. Everybody cares. Well, I don't know. I guess not everybody cares, but I think TIA type of people who come to my schools, they are very caring and they want to make a difference in the world, but they don't know how. It's a big problem. People are on every corner wanting money. I mean, do you just give them money? Is that the solution? Or is there housing projects? Are there shelters? But what do they want for the long term? And we know how to do short-term fixes, but how can we end the situation so they never have to be out exposed to the elements and to just being on the street? So that's a question the kids really honestly care about.
And to be able to share that with your kids. I mean, I've now got to speak at 3 different Tucson International Academy campuses, and like you're saying, I mean, when I spoke at the first school, I was a little terrified because, I mean, though I have children myself, I've never spoke in front of a group of little kids and kind of been interacting with them like that before. So I didn't know what to make of it. But thankfully, having the children's book and just some awesome kids at TIA, it became comfortable really, really quickly. And it was like, and then at that point, it was just like, oh, awesome. I get to share and teach this subject to the future.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, after speaking at that first school, I've made it a goal. I want to speak about homelessness with every kid in Tucson, at least. This.
And were you surprised at how much they really cared about it?
I was.
Because, I mean, for one thing, I remember, like, neither one of us really knew how to introduce the subject, because I was there with you for that one older class, because I didn't want them to intimidate you. I wanted you to have a positive experience. But I tried some opening questions. It didn't work. But when you said, how many of you have someone in your family or you know someone who's homeless? Oh, you got them. And they all put up their hand. So, and then they were interested. So it's just finding how to connect with them and how to share your knowledge and what you learned about the subject and what you've done, and it was great. I mean, wow.
And it was really cool with your kids. I mean, at the second school I spoke to, it was really cool the questions they asked and just how compassionate your kids are. I mean, a lot. I mean, most, if not all, your kids are just they got a heart on them.
Yes,
like
they do.
They are some caring kids, and you kind of just asking, telling the questions that they're asking, like, how can I help? What can I do? Like these type of things that you wouldn't expect coming out of the mouth of an 8-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about the whole? Well, they do some projects. Like they will occasionally do a drive for like bathing items and things, and they'll put them in little baggies and they'll give them to a shelter. But now of course they're like, we should give them to the homeless, but they just have to find like a way to do that, because we can't just say, walk up and get for their safety. We just have to be a little mindful. So it's like working some of that out. But I'm telling you, they're already working it out in their mind, what they're going to do and what they think that should happen. And you know what? From that, they're going to come up with the solution, for whatever period of time they're adults and that they're living, so that they can make a difference.
Yeah.
So, and in our schools, it's funny you notice that they're caring, because we do have a sports program. We do play competitive sports. We have flag football. It's not with it's not like tackle, but it is flag football. And there's like 12 teams, and it's a big deal. And we've won the championship a few years. It's a lot of fun for us. We're a little bit on the competitive side. I don't know why. It could be the leader, but anyways. But they tell us that we had to tell them, no, if a kid falls down trying to get your flag, don't stop running to help them up. Run and make this touchdown, then go back, okay? But that's how they are. And they nicknamed our team, our kids, the Care Bears. Because they said, your guys care about the others so much.
That's a good one.
So TIA Care Bears, there we are. I would say even our principals are that. It's like, they're grown men, and you don't really call them Care Bears to their face, but I will secretly say, which hopefully they don't listen to this show, that we often say, I think, the Care Bears had a good idea today, but they do care. And I would say educators, generally, you're going to find they're on the caring side, but you don't always see the students respond so well. And I say that goes to the families. The families have raised compassionate, loving, caring students. And if you bring your kid to our school at Tucson International Academy, that's who your child will be with. There'll be people like that. So we're far from perfect, but I tell you what, I've been in some public schools recently, and we are different. Tucson International Academy, that smallness, that intimacy, that one-on-one, that attention, it goes a long way. And the kids have a very great respect. Honestly, when I was speaking on the stage, the parents were a little loud, because I think they were having their own party up there at graduation in the stands. But the kids in the front row were like giving me thumbs up, and they were like, Dr.
they were very
J.
attentive.
Weren't they neat?
They were very attentive.
I was like, even if we didn't even have the parents there, none of the graduation was really for the parents. It was all for the kids. And of course, we love our parents as well. I'm proud of the parents, because they have really produced some great kids. But just it's so ironic that they respond like that.
Yeah, they were great kids. I mean, and I enjoy my experience at TIA. I've certainly enjoyed our time working together. It's been such a blessing. And it was kind of like the last time I went and spoke at TIA, other than the fact that they all responded well, it was just kind of like a highlight, one of the highlights of my life, actually, kind of like Andreas was saying earlier, where I felt like I was famous there, and to sit down and sign autographs for these kids and stuff like that, it was just it's unmatched.
I mean, you are a bona fide author. I mean, you really are famous, and that's the thing. People may say, "Oh, everything's digital now." No, you will never replace the experience of touching, holding, looking, feeling, and experiencing a story. A computer, it just puts distance between you and the subject matter. And when you have brilliant pictures, like these all through the book, and you have characters that look familiar, I mean, that's clearly you. So it's so neat that that you have done that. And I think it's awesome. I mean, really, our kids are so lucky. They have you, Andres, to coach them, and they have you as someone who can lead them to the way to make change.
Nice.
I'm so thankful for you guys.
It's been such a blessing.
All
right. Thank you, Dr. J.
All right.
It's the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John here with Dr. J. We'll see you next week.